Okay, I like that. Do we have another one? All right, not so much. Hey, have we heard back from the test group to see their reaction on the one I came up with?
Ponderous, man. Ponderous.
All right, I get it. Okay. Hi, I'm Scott Burns, voice actor, producer, coach, everything fun. Now, in the past, I've always done everything myself. You know, you save money in the process, you learn a little bit along the way. But in the back of my mind, I've always wondered, what is it like to have it done right? That's why I'm having this room transformed into this room. Okay, no. Precisely why I'm paying to have it done professionally. But first, a bit of backstory from my studios. This is vintage footage of my very first home studio circa 1991. These are 2-inch by 4 feet square panels. I first adhered to this corner basement bedroom wall with duct tape, of course. Made a loop, stuck them up. Great. But one or two would invariably fall, so I gently held them in place by hammering nails through the foam to hold them up. That worked. And I will say, for a DIY, I did okay. Now, at the time, I was starting my new business, creating customized comedy bits for morning radio shows around the country, and it was exciting. But, you know, as happens in life, people move. You downsize, you upsize, you pivot! And when you downsize, there's not always accommodations for a full home studio setup. So, I improvised. A tight fit, but functional and fashionable. So now, let's fast forward to just a year ago. We packed up and moved to the bright lights and sunny days of Las Vegas, baby! Part of that package included a full home studio. But this time, instead of it being a DIY job like this, I wanted to go full on with DBAP, done by a professional. But who are you going to call?
Welcome to the party, pal!
No, not John McClane. John McClane, founder and co-owner of Monster Sound and Picture, a multi-award-winning video, film, and TV production studio in Las Vegas. I just so happened to have met John a few years prior when he graciously awarded me his time with a tour of what was then Dog and Pony Studios, sharing all the nuts and bolts of how he operates. Bravo. So when we moved to Vegas a year ago, I reached out to John soon after having lunch with this incredible human being, Dustin Ebaugh. Longtime, beloved Vegas-based voice talent, and I asked him who he would recommend to build my studio. Immediately, he said,
Welcome to the party, pal!
Okay, no, we already did this bit. But you'd be right, it was John McClane, adding, he's a mensch. So good, we were both on the same page. Now, I don't have any video footage to cover John's first visit to my home when he took measurements and provided an estimate, so this is just another reenactment. John McClane, come on in. I don't think I'll ever get tired of that bit. Now, John also brought along his handyman for the project, Mark McNett, a retired Las Vegas Metropolitan Police detective. You may have seen Mark featured doing his detective work on Dateline and assorted other projects. Welcome to the crime scene, McNett. After every square foot was accounted for, the men inched their way to the door, darted across the yard, and were on their way. Meanwhile, I ordered fabric for the panels from Guilford of Maine, thanks to John's recommendation. My wife and I really liked vanilla neutral, although I was partial to straw, light moss, and earth. I also ordered a secondary acoustic treatment from a company called ClearSonic that makes these freestanding panels. The Sorber 2-section fabric hinged model, set up in a V formation. They fold up so you can tuck them away or carry them around like a giant briefcase. You can even connect to other ones with these Velcro connectors. These panels are really great. I even showed my voiceover class just how effective they are. I will include the name of this in an email. But there it goes. Yeah! Yeah, it was windy that day. Now, John and I both knew there would be some lag time between when the panels were assembled and ready to install. He was scheduled to attend a wedding in Europe, And I'd be celebrating my son's nuptials in Vegas as well.
I'll never have a suspicious mind.
I'll never have a suspicious mind.
And I'll always be your hunka burning love.
And I'll always be your hunka burning love. Beautiful.
Now that's how you do a Vegas wedding. Now, I don't know why it is that for every good thing that happens, something bad has to come along and steal the limelight. But that's what happened the end of October when I received an email from John letting me know that Mark had suffered a mild stroke. I know. Thankfully, the doctor said he would have full recovery, but it would be a while. The priority, of course, was getting him back to full health, which he is, thankfully. And I find that very comforting and offer this peaceful and positive visual to exemplify my thoughts. Meanwhile, as that old saying goes, when life hands you lemons, you make John McClane squeeze out a solution. Order up another equally talented handyman, Dustin Frank, fellow voice talent, audiobook narrator, and man with a pedigree in construction, including displays for trade show events and exhibitions. Now wait a minute, whoa, I never thought of putting a tub in my studio. Now, before construction on the room began, though, I would need to tear down everything I'd cobbled together thus far. Shut it down, pull it down, get down tonight. Bye-bye to DIY. Meanwhile, a sneak peek at the work done so far. Here's Dustin's handiwork in assembling the panels in his workshop. Nice bass trap here, obviously cut with a beautiful pair of scissors. And these whisper clouds I'd actually purchased while still in Seattle. They were just white foam, but Dustin covered them with my new fabric. All packed up and ready to go. It's showtime, folks. Introduce thyselves.
Hey.
There's Dustin and there's John.
Hello.
What are the first things we're going to do first, he asked inquiringly.
Put your studio together.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. After that, we party.
Pull back the main,
There you go.
and we're gonna start with bass traps this
No, we
morning.
gotta see how the mainsail sets. Then we're gonna call for the captain ashore, because I want to go home.
And thus, the build is launched. Buoyed by waves of creativity, ingenuity, and technology.
Lasers.
The shark with a laser.
While I man the caffeine line, the crew dives in on placing the panels, utilizing methods passed down from generations.
Duly impressed.
Do the stud joke for me, would you, John?
I can't, I'm right here.
Another great line that's been passed down through generations. Now, being a hot in-demand recording engineer meant that John had to leave to get back to Monster Sound and Picture. But before he left, I asked what words of advice he'd offer others doing a home build.
Consult the professionals. Don't always use the same thickness of treatment all over the room. Don't cover the whole room in treatment.
Seek treatment if
Seek treatment. All right.
No, thank you,
Thanks,
John.
Dustin.
Thank you.
And what a treat this is. Being reminded of an Elton John song now called Measure of a Man. The lyrics,
These battered hands are all you own. This broken heart is turned to stone.
exactly what these panels are made of. Rock wool, a brand-specific type of mineral wool insulation where they heat basalt rocks to 2,900 degrees Fahrenheit, then mix it with a recycled steel-making byproduct known as slag, then blow it into a spinning chamber like a souped-up cotton candy machine, gather it all together, and compress it into mats. You know, years ago I would have tried doing this myself, but you know what? I thought it best to
Consult the professionals.
Yep, indeed. Case in point, I could never do this. Dustin made this template for hanging the whisper clouds. Now, first of all, they don't really whisper, and they're not really clouds, but that's beside the point. So he made this template out of a big chunk of cardboard that used to contain a widescreen TV. And he had to figure out where all the waves were, you know, from the hills and the valleys, and how to make the whole thing level, plus make sure that they don't, you know, like fall down on my head. So to do that, we had to secure them. Now I say we, Dustin had to secure them. And he used good old-fashioned glue, by the way.
Tight bond. Tight bond on the thread.
see the top of these very much.
Yeah, see, here's where I'd be licking my finger. There's a good sound. You know work is getting done when you hear that sound. That or your tire is being changed. Now, please explain how you got a curved surface to hang level like this.
So we took the curve and we figured out what the 0 point was, which is this flat side here, and then what this added length was going to be. So this wound up being 1 inch longer than this point here. So we made 3-inch hooks for the 0 point and 4-inch hooks for the plus 1 inch point, giving us a nice level hanging.
Okay, well, let's now move on to a section of the room that I never really gave much thought to, which is the entrance and how sound can leak under the door.
So we're going to take some Velcro, put it on the bottom of this sweep, and staple the other side to the bottom of the door. And this is actually going to add a little bit of another 1/8 inch or so of height to the bottom. Should make that seal nice and tight to the carpet. To make sure it doesn't come off. Now. And Dusty's cut on the wrong side of the tape.
Well, don't worry. Remember,
That's the measure of a man.
Not bad, not bad.
impressive. Meanwhile,
I just paused for a second to make sure that we put it on the bottom of the door.
and no, we hadn't been drinking at this point. But look how lush and plush that carpet feels with no sound wafting through. So, are we all done? Apparently not.
Alright, this is the most important part of any job. Not leaving the customer with the feeling that he's got to clean up for a half hour.
We have a spare bedroom, too, that needs a little work.
Yeah, I was going to say we do windows.
And when you think about it, this is really the only sucky part of the entire studio build here. So look at this. We've got the ceiling clouds. We've got 4 of those, the whisper clouds. We have about 10 panels that we put up. Got a couple bass traps in the corners and 3 ceiling traps. And I am just amazed. You know, obviously we won't have the blower going through here like this, unless Dustin wants to just, you know, take it to heart, and this could be a new gig for him. I mean, really, it looks good on the resume. Look, see, he does corners, he gets in there. But anyway, that's the studio build. Let's have a look here, and oh, we're going to do the outside here too. This is amazing. What do you think, Dustin?
Pretty spectacular. Amazing sound, visually pleasing.
And a hunk of burning carpet.
Yeah, take the man bun out.
There he goes, yeah. Oh, man. I am just so happy with the attention to detail here. This intricate work up alongside the ceiling here. These clouds actually dispersing the airflow from the vent. The corner traps, everything. Something I never would have thought to do, really, if I'd done it myself. Of course, there are some skills that I still have to adhere to after my apprenticeship working for my wife. But let's see how this thing works. And the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. That was really conversational. Oh, hi, you caught me working. Well, here I am inside the studio, and oh my goodness, is this just beyond wonderful. John McLean, thank you again so much for your fine design work. Mark McNett, thank you for your contributions on the panels. Continued health to you. And of course, Dustin Frank. Oh man, the man can wield a wrench, a laser, and a blue tape like nobody's business. You guys just did an awesome job, and I can't thank you enough. Now, the question remains, Scott, would you do it yourself if you had the opportunity? No. I mean, there is one project that I think I might try myself. John had suggested putting some of those LED strip lights around the panels to kind of give it that studio ambiance. So I might try that. What do you think?
Consult the professionals.